Welcome to Hi, It's Me, Same Genes, Different Scenes. I'm Kim.
And I'm Lindsay.
And we're here to bring you our podcast about everything which makes us and our friends, family and special guests the same but wonderfully different.
We hope you love listening to our stories and insights into our experiences, from how we viewed growing up to the direction life has taken us in adulthood. Hi, welcome back to the studio.
Hi, it's good to be back. All raring to go to record episode number 2.
I know, very exciting. Lily said she's going to have to charge us a studio fee to use her bedroom to record the podcast.
She'll be lucky. She's getting like money for rent and money for food.
I know.
We can take it out of that.
Yeah,
if she wants,
yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Any rent that she owes me will cancel out any studio fees.
Yeah. So, how have you been since the last episode? Has anyone said that they've listened?
Loads of people. It's very exciting.
Ooh.
Loads of people have messaged me to say that they listened. Yeah, it's been really nice. A lot of people who I didn't not necessarily think would listen, but lots of sort of people who I know who listened, who I was like, oh, that's really nice. I'm really pleased you listened.
Yeah.
Lots of messages about Hot Rabbi, though.
Hot Rabbi.
Hot Rabbi.
I mean, he is hot.
Yeah.
I'm a bit gutted I don't have a hot rabbi to at least talk about.
No.
Or, yeah.
We don't even have a hot rabbi in town.
No.
There's no synagogue, is there?
No,
There's nothing.
there's
There's nothing like that.
There's not even a rabbi, let alone a hot rabbi.
Yeah. We need a campaign.
Yeah.
Get a synagogue and a hot rabbi in Wallingford.
Yeah. Maybe I should maybe on my Hinge preferences I should be looking for hot rabbi. Yeah.
Oh.
I've had some really nice messages too of people that have listened. Some debates about whether we sound the same. There's a suggestion that at certain pitches we do and at certain other pitches we don't.
Yes. Well, yeah, I was going to say about that because you'd said to me about that that it was mentioned to you at a higher pitch. We do sound the same. I feel like our default is higher pitched.
Yeah.
So therefore we always sound the same.
Yeah.
There's nothing other than high pitched.
Yeah. Actually, on that, so I've had a cold since the last episode, so I feel like I'm a bit more lower toned and nasally at the moment. But I had a really funny message a couple of days ago from a friend of mine saying, "Are you on the radio?" And it was Wednesday, and I was like, no. And he said, "Are you sure? I mean, she's called Kim and she sounds like you." Very bizarre. And I said, "It's definitely not me. Is she talking rubbish?" And he replied saying, "Yes," in an excitable way. So apparently there was somebody on the radio that sounded like me that was called Kim. So
we'll have to find her.
We'll have to find her, get her on the podcast.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Next mission.
Yeah.
I did have a few messages also saying that they thought that the name was great because it reminded them of Mum.
Oh.
Because that's what she says when she phones up. Hi, it's me.
That's me.
Yeah. Shame.
I mean, back in the day when you didn't have mobile phones, you didn't know who was ringing.
That is true.
That would have been highly confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, but I say it now.
Yeah, I do.
Mostly people
obviously,
know it's me, but
yeah. Speaking of Mum, she had a little sneak listen to the podcast after we recorded it.
Right.
Before I actually published it, because she wanted to listen.
Okay.
So obviously, if you haven't listened to the last podcast, this isn't going to make much sense to you, so you need to listen back to the last episode. But Woody, one of my dogs, was being a complete pain in the bum, just sitting, looking at me and whining. Not wanting anything, just whining for nothing. Mum and Dad were around for dinner after she'd listened to the podcast, and she went, "Oh, is he being a dick dog?" And then went, "Oh!" Like this, hands over her mouth in absolute shock. Nellie's sat there.
Don't swear in front of Nellie.
No, and my dad was like, "Oh, it's a podcast thing. It's a podcast thing." My mum says. Mum says.
Which probably, garnered a eye roll and whatever else.
A massive tut.
Oh, dick dog. So actually, obviously, Nyla's been a dick dog again this week.
Yeah.
So you know how I feed her off that massive Kong. So she rolls that around the living room. And often it gets stuck under things. And I bought a really massive new fern, which is on my TV stand. And so she's like tearing into this Kong thing. And as she was doing so, she was backing up and she backed up onto my new fern and very, very nearly knocked it off. And I had to do, luckily I was in the room and had to do that. No! Get away from my Boston fern, you dick.
Yeah. Well, talking of ferns, you had your tattoo last episode.
Yeah.
You just had your tattoo.
Yeah.
It was at the itchy stage.
Yeah.
How was it now? Is it alright?
I can confirm it's no longer itchy.
Good.
Yeah, it's all fully...
Is it a bit scabby or is it healed over?
No, it was, because it's like fine line, it didn't even scab. You didn't get that usual, oh my God, is there a spider in my bed? Yeah. Oh no, it's just my tattoo flaking off. Yeah, so totally healed. Yeah. Totally all good.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
And so the ferns...
Yes.
Talking of ferns in the house and ferns on your arm.
Yeah.
You have a little story behind your fern, don't you, on your arm?
I do. So, got the camper van at the start of the year and I've been just spending as much time in it as possible. And I'd gone on one of my many solo trips, because that's mostly what I'm doing when I'm not, doing anything else. And I'd gone to Dartmoor, Sans Dick Dog, so that I could actually do some walking. And I visited some woodland parks with waterfalls, and they were all like stunning. And there was basically this Victorian fern garden, and there was some information about this fern and how in the Victorian period, like, women went crazy collecting them, and there was like this fern mania thing, which I thought was just hysterical. Obviously coined by a man. Yeah. Women have gone crazy, they're collecting ferns.
Plants are...
Yeah. And it was a way of like, actually it was a way of them meeting men, so it was kind of funny.
Yeah. And by going into the woods and collecting ferns,
yeah,
actually they were meeting
it was basically
men.
like an activity that they were able to do on their own. Like, I'm just off to collect some ferns. Yeah. So again, highly amusing.
But they were having rumpy in the woods.
No, I don't think they were having rumpy. I think it was slightly more dramatic than that.
Okay.
But they basically became a symbol of pleasurable pursuits, and I was there, you know, in my camper van, solo tripping, and I thought, yeah, this feels good.
This is a pleasurable
pursuit. I was like, yeah, and I've had that gap for ages that I've been wanting to fill, and I was like, I'm going to get bloody fern.
Oh, that's so cute.
And I booked it in, and the tattoo lady was like, oh my God, I've been wanting to do a fern for ages. So yeah, that's cool. My fern camper van.
Oh, the camper is a really good investment for you though, isn't it?
Oh my God, I love it so much.
Yeah,
it's just a dream.
Yeah,
it's something so simple, really. Yeah. And I've got like it's like 30 years old, but I just absolutely love being in it. I love driving it. Anyone round Wallingford sees a high top old 95 camper van, that's me. If it's not 95, it's probably Carly. She's got the identical camper van. So yeah, if you see high top camper vans driving around Wallingford, it's going to be either me or Carly.
Yeah.
And we go away together in it.
Yeah.
Too. So yeah.
Yeah. You've not quite got me round to the idea of going. I mean, I like the idea of going in the camper van and going away somewhere fun, but I need a toilet. I need a hot shower and a toilet.
I've got a wee bottle with an adapter for the ladies.
That's fine. It's the other bits. The nice, warm toilet seat.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
that sort of thing.
It's a very unique experience trekking across a field at 3 a.m. to have a wee in a cupboard.
Yeah, that is...
with no light. Actually, the place I stayed in at Dartmoor didn't have. It was like a composting toilet, so it was pretty smelly, and it didn't have any lights. So I was like head torch, having a wee.
Yeah,
I mean it's a risk, but it's the benefits outweigh the risks. It's very, very fun. I reckon I can get you doing a one-nighter.
Yeah, you probably
a one-nighter on a maybe a bit more of a nicer campsite.
Yeah. Although I do think it's probably a catalyst for an absolute traumatic journey, because we are renowned. Well, I say renowned. Between the two of us, we are pretty renowned for our adventures when we are driving, aren't we? Both together and separately, I think.
Yeah. I mean, something did happen to me this week that I thought, oh my God, this is a podcast story. Because I was driving for an interview, And I was feeling a little bit nervous. I had to drive to Swindon and face the magic roundabout.
Oh God, yeah.
I know, horrible. So, but I'm all psyched up. I've got a couple of crystals in my bra. I've done my releasing my vagus nerve exercises by singing at the top of my lungs. And I've got Greg in a hurry up my bum, driving up my bum, and a bloody squirrel ran out in front of me. I mean, I was only going at 30 miles an hour, but you know that panic of when someone's right behind you can't brake.
Oh my God.
You can't
run the squirrel. You can't run the squirrel over.
Well, I know. So I did what any normal person does.
Did you shut your eyes?
No. I just screamed. I screamed and I carried on.
With your eyes shut? That's
right. No, I didn't shut my eyes. But I think it was fine. But then it was kind of like, I don't think I hit it because I didn't get that
there wasn't
a little dudum. So then I was just like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Not amazing, but you know.
I don't think I killed a squirrel.
And I'm not going to be arriving at an interview crying because I've killed a squirrel.
And I didn't have Greg up my bum.
And I didn't have Greg up my bum for any longer than was necessary. So, I mean, I still can't listen to Red Alert by Basement Jaxx without laughing out loud when we were driving home through the middle of Reading. So
that was a millennium ago.
It was, wasn't it?
It was such a long time ago. I mean, we still actually, well, I say we still haven't told Piers. I think we only told Piers very recently, didn't we?
We did, yeah. And I think that was because we were drunk and it was Christmas.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically we're in the middle of Reading, driving home from shopping one day. Red Alert comes on the radio, like obviously cranked it up. Epic levels of loudness.
And singing along.
Red alert,
it's a catastrophe.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Not really paying attention to what's going along. And we're driving down a quite well-known road in Reading to come home. And
it's the anyone that knows Reading may well remember carnival stores. I don't even know what the road name is, but basically carnival stores that was like, if you were doing fancy dress, you'd go to carnival stores.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing shop. And it had it was along like a parade of shops, and there was parking basically out the front of it, a hot, massive row of parking.
Yes.
And then like a dual lane.
Yeah. Road.
Yeah. That actually, it's only 30, but people whip along there, don't they?
I mean, we weren't whipping.
No, we weren't.
Our hair, maybe, but not in speed.
No. We were driving slowly.
Yeah, we were. And so, obviously, red alert, it's catastrophe. All of a sudden, we hear this massive dump. Instantly shut the heck up. And I look to my left and see that the glass has somehow popped out of the wing mirror on the car.
On the passenger side.
On the passenger side.
Yeah.
So, the glass, the wing mirror is still attached nicely, but the glass part had just popped out somehow. So, obviously, panicking. What
because
we're
in Piers' car.
We're in Piers' car. Well, I don't think we were in Piers' car. I think we maybe shared a car.
Oh, yeah. It definitely wasn't like your own car. Because we were like, shit.
Yeah. So, on this road, there was a left-hand turn so you could pull in. So I pulled in. Kim jumped out to see if she could find a wing mirror or the glass wing mirror. So I did a little U-E, went round the roads, back round, managed to then pick her up. She successfully had the glass from the wing mirror all intact.
Yeah.
Popped it back in.
And it had literally, and it was pretty much outside carnival stores.
Yeah.
So I was like running up the pavement, and I spied it, and it had literally popped out, and then somehow gone between two cars onto the middle of the pavement, and I was just like casually like bending down and picking up this wing mirror and just scuttling back to the car, and then
back in.
and then driving off and. Yeah. I think we were quite quiet.
We drove home. We didn't even talk to each other. I don't think. We didn't even need to say anything. Don't tell anybody.
No. And I mean, even before then, when it was your car, we've had another experience. Obviously, you driving.
Yeah, obviously,
because it was your car.
It's always been driving. Yeah.
Sorry, Mum. We both used to smoke. Driving up Wantage Road.
Yeah,
smoking, probably singing along to something on the radio. But what car was it? Because it was like a really old.
I think it was that crappy little. metro,
like a blue metro
petrol. I think it was that one.
Yeah,
it's got to be that one. I don't think there's anything else.
And you basically had a fag in your hand, and the cherry of it fell off into your lap. And you were trying to get that out and drive. And I think on the other side, I mean,
I recall going up onto the pavement marginally
in a safe way.
But I feel like I was on the opposite side of the road, but I don't quite know how I got onto it. I don't think I was.
I think there was a bin lorry.
Was I over? I was overtaking something.
I think there was a bin lorry.
I think I knocked it off as I was overtaking.
You knocked it off?
Yes.
It actually,
yes.
I think you knocked it off on your window, but it bumped and it landed on your lap. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've had some pretty shocking driving experiences. I mean, I'm not a bad driver. I'm going to touch wood. I'm not a bad driver. I just have things happen to me, like we had this Peugeot. This was Pierce's Peugeot. That was definitely Pierce's Peugeot. That I could never get into gear.
Yeah.
And we were driving into Oxford, and I got into the wrong lane going into Oxford.
Yeah.
And we had to pull in and do a little U-E in a cul-de-sac, which was very tight.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like a 95-point turn.
It did.
In this little cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get the car into gear.
No. It was,
so it took way longer than it needed to.
Yeah.
And everybody was peering out from their curtains.
Yeah, they were because it was very crunchy.
Yeah,
then,
it was
wasn't
very
it?
crunchy. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And I probably was just laughing. Because it was, I mean, I'm sympathetic because I've had a lot of driving things myself. So, I'm pretty sure I would have been laughing. I mean, I hate, when I was learning to drive, I hated it. Like at 17, 18,
yeah.
I absolutely hated it so much. I think I had a couple of driving instructors, and I had one that I remember who, he was horrible, and it was in the summer, and he used to wind down the window and lean his arm out the side. And I remember once driving a bit too close down a country lane, and he ended up getting his arm all scratched up by a bush, and he was really pissed off, and I was like, it's not my fault,
then,
Colin.
Was he the same guy? I had a really nasty one that had a beard. Didn't like him at all. He was really mean. Took me about 7 times to pass my driving test. In the end, I went with somebody in Wallingford who, I don't think he's a driving instructor anymore, but he was like who everybody went with, so he was really in demand.
Yeah.
And he got me through my test and an absolute ton of rescue remedy.
Yeah.
I used to bite the insides of my mouth to absolute shreds because I was so nervous in my tests.
Yeah.
So rescue remedy and chewing gum. I just used to have to chew chewing gum.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, I think from that initial driving learning, I just said I was ill. I'd like block booked a load, and I was just like, I'm ill. Mum would be like, no, you're not. And I'm like, but I hated it that much that I just, and after that, I just couldn't do it. And so I stopped. And it wasn't until I came back from uni and I was working in Harwell, and I was like, I need to drive. And I ended up doing that week-long intensive. But the only place I could do it, or the only place I could find it when I needed it, was bloody Clacton-on-Sea. Yeah. So I had to go up to Clacton, drive around there for 5 days, where I'd never been, obviously.
Stay in a B&B for a week.
Stay in a B&B for a week, and then have a test on a Friday afternoon. And luckily, I did pass it. But obviously, by that point, I'd never driven around here.
No.
But I mean, I like driving now. I've driven a lot for certain jobs, like all over the country. I mean, you used to.
Oh, I did. I used to drive bloody vans, didn't I? Hate. I can't drive anything probably bigger than my Fiat 500 now.
Yeah.
Because I hate driving. Absolutely petrifies me.
Yeah.
I drove home from work in the dark yesterday at 5:00, and I was nearly crying because I was like, I can't do this.
Oh,
I can't drive in the dark.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How things change. And now, like, I've gone from like hating driving, learning to drive, to driving my camper.
Yeah. I mean, you are a pretty good driver as well, though, aren't you? I mean, you know.
I think so. I mean, I have been called a granny driver before, but I like to be safe. All of my accidents have only ever.
All of my accidents
have only ever involved. Oh no, that's a lie. I was going to say they've only ever involved me, but that isn't strictly true. I mean, I've had the classic skidded on some ice.
Yeah.
gone into a field and some barbed wire.
Classic. That's a classic. You know, that's like a standard.
Classic.
Yeah.
I've had sounds terrible and was really scary, but thankfully, you know, rolling my car down that embankment.
Yeah.
I did have a dog in the car with me at the time, which was awful.
Yeah.
I thought I'd killed her.
Yeah.
She was fine.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't want to go in a car ever again with me, but you know, everything was fine. And then I did have one where I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I was at like a T junction and I literally just pulled out into the back of a Land Rover. And he went ballistic. I started crying, obviously. Somebody came running up our house because they thought their horse had escaped and been hit.
Oh God.
But so I mean, I didn't drive for a long time. But I think I'm quite safe. So anyone listening who potentially might be driving around where I'm driving around, you're totally fine. Yeah, I'm very, very safe.
Yeah, and I mean, I would also say that potentially we have also rubbed our car catastrophes off onto other people. Do you remember that friend of mine? We won't mention her name. She's going to know who she is, and probably a lot of people will know who she is, Keely. We went to the cinema.
Yeah,
and it was quite newly built.
Going to say it only just opened, and
I've got a feeling she probably was quite a new driver as well at the time. And she went to park her car. And
it was a little silver micro, wasn't it?
And I think she probably was picking the right spot.
Yeah.
And she parked her car, you know, in a nice little spot on the edge of the car park, popped it in the spot, going forward, and just sort of dropped off of the edge of this really high curb.
Yeah, and they hadn't finished.
They hadn't finished the curb.
They hadn't put a curb, and she just
dropped off the edge.
And we had the front off.
Drop the front off. So the front two wheels were hanging off the front of the curb, and the rest of the car was in the car park.
Yeah.
We had to lift. It was obviously, luckily, it's a little car.
Yeah.
We had to sort of lift the car.
I mean, there was 4 of us, so we were able to do it. But
just lift it up and push it back onto into the car park.
There you go. Back in your space.
Yeah, I mean, didn't you have a story about a friend driving as well?
Yeah, I mean, so I remembered this morning because obviously we knew this episode was going to be about kind of driving and other things, and we had some funny stories. And Katie sent me a lovely message about the podcast, and I remembered a time when we were at college, and Katie was the only one that drove because she learned drove. She learnt very early, and she used to drive. There were 4 of us, and she would drive us to Henley to college. And so there's like a main road that you can go. Often it's quite busy because you're going through Henley Town Centre, or there's like the back way past the old Sue Ryder place.
Yeah.
And we'd driven down one of these roads, and for some reason decided that wasn't the best thing to do, and that we wanted to go down the other road. And somebody suggested that there was a road that went between those 2 roads, through like a wooded... Through the woods.
Yeah.
So we were like, yeah, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and it's like short. We were like, oh, it'll be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It soon became apparent that we were not on that road, if it even exists.
Yeah.
We were basically just driving down a single track that was going to like private houses. And so we were lost.
Yeah.
And
no sat navs.
No sat navs, no phones. Google Map, no phones.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know I think Katie had a pager.
Handy when you're in an emergency situation.
So we were basically lost, and then we had to turn round, and it was really muddy. I'm pretty sure we got stuck, and at least one pheasant/deer ran out in front of us.
Yeah.
We didn't do that again.
No.
We stuck to the main roads. But yeah, hopefully Katie will remember that and find that.
I mean, we're not always like driving, are we? We do have some more civilised trips sometimes.
We do.
We've just started going around on an annual sisters trip, haven't we?
Yeah.
Somewhere a bit fun.
Yeah, that's our we don't get each other Christmas presents. We plan a trip.
Yeah.
Of some description.
Yeah.
Or we like to kind of do trips as presents for other people.
Yeah. So last year we did Paris, didn't we? That was our first sister nice trip was Paris on the Eurostar.
Yeah.
Which was fun. marginally overwhelming for me to start with, because everybody speaks French.
They do. And we were in a particularly non-English speaking area.
It was not very touristy where we were staying, was it? So they probably could speak English, but they just chose not to because we were English. They just wanted to speak French.
Yeah.
I got incredible anxiety and overwhelmed in the very first restaurant we went into and nearly cried.
Yeah.
But you soon came to the rescue.
And I took over with my GCSE French. He understood what we wanted, which was mostly red wine.
Yeah.
We got through it.
I think that actually was the part that got me over the being so overwhelmed. Don't worry, I did French at GCSE.
It's true.
I know.
I did. And I did all right. Yeah. I got an A.
We asked for an omelette and a couple of glasses of wine.
It was one of my only A's.
But yeah, Paris was good fun. Our sense of direction was pretty rubbish, as always.
I mean, it is. I think I don't know how long we walked around trying to get to the Eiffel Tower, because it's one of those places we can see it.
Yeah,
it's over that. Yeah. If we head in that direction, no, walking around for ages, avoiding the rats.
Oh yeah, rats at Sacré-Cœur.
Paris is actually very ratty.
The signs everywhere about the rats.
Yeah. Don't feed the rats.
Don't feed the rats.
No, don't eat the rats.
Don't eat the rats.
Don't eat the rats.
Don't eat the rats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was, get rid of the rats.
Yeah, that was like a rustling in the bushes, and I was like, oh my God, what's that? And all of a sudden this rat the size of a dog, like literally just ran out in front of us and just gave us a little wave as he ran past. Bonjour.
I don't think I realised it was so ratty, but very.
There's lots of signs about
very,
rats,
very ratty. Yeah. A slightly more civilised one, I suppose, very much less ratty.
Yeah,
was the Barcelona trip that we did with Mum.
Probably because Mum was there. That's probably why it was a little more civilised. Potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, that was her 70th birthday present, wasn't it?
It was.
We took her to Barcelona for a nice long weekend.
It was. Yeah. And it started, we took we had those pods, the pod parking at Terminal 5, which if anybody's been in them, they're like tiny, tiny little spaceships.
Yeah.
You can get like 4 people in and they take you from the car park straight to Terminal 5. They're amazing because they're just waiting there ready. You don't have to hang around and wait for a bus. But it is like being a bit on a roller coaster.
Yeah, it is a bit bumpy, isn't it?
Or a waltzer. Scream if you want to go faster. I mean, it doesn't go any faster.
No,
but
you can scream.
But you can scream if you want.
Yeah,
yeah.
That was a fun little trip, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There weren't too many like catastrophes that happened. We had a lot. We had a lot of laughs.
We did have a lot of laughs
when we tried to get to the beach, because the beach in Barcelona, because it was so hot when we were there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And from being in the city centre of Barcelona to get to the beach was a bit of a trek, wasn't it? And we did we're walkers, so we like to walk everywhere. We don't really like to do Ubers or public transport or anything like that. So we did walk quite a distance.
Yeah,
we did a little poo pit stop at the mall, didn't we?
Remember,
somebody needed a poo, so we had to go to the mall, find the poos. Find the toilets for the poo. But those toilets were amazing. I mean, you had to pay like 20 cents to get in.
You had to pay.
They were beautiful.
They were, and they played you music.
They did. They were lovely.
They did not wipe your bum for you, though.
They didn't. No, but they were very nice.
Yeah.
So and then we went onto the beach.
And
it was like nearly 5 o'clock by the time we got to the beach.
It was. But we, I don't know, I hadn't quite anticipated it. Didn't really have anything to sit on.
No.
Did we?
No.
And I really wanted. So they had some like those beach hagglers.
Yeah.
Selling
blanket sellers,
but they were hawkers. That was what the word is. Beach hawkers. But they had these really, really huge blankets. The kind of blankets that I'm obsessed with blankets. My flat is full of them.
Well, they weren't blankets. They were more like throws, weren't they? But you use them as a blanket or whatever.
Yeah, and I really, really wanted one, and but I didn't know how much they were, and I didn't want to go up to somebody. I don't like haggling. I didn't want to go up to anyone and ask how much it was in case I didn't want to pay it.
Yeah.
And in the end, I think I did.
When you went up and
I overheard. I think I overheard, and they were like
20 euros.
20 euros. Me being me, I'm like, I'll pay that. And Mum's face was just like, absolutely not. You've got to haggle them down. And I was like, I don't want to haggle them down. I just want to pay the money and have my throw.
But before that, so we'd gone in the we were going in the sea, and we put our feet in the sea. It was too cold, so we just pretended to like, oh, this is fun. And then we came back, And Mum had said, the police have just been round. One of those hawkers has just buried something in the sand over there. And then we were like looking, and Mum was like, just go and dig it out of the sand. They buried it there. Obviously, 5 minutes later, he comes back, undigs it from the sand.
Yeah.
And it's the blanket that Kim wanted.
It was.
So Mum's like, well, you're definitely not paying €20 for a blanket he's just buried in the sand.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't pay.
Mum haggled him down. Slightly.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. And I think I paid €15 in the end. And I got this fantastic... like a white background with loads of like blue patterns on it, and it was fab.
It was lovely.
And Mum didn't want to sit on it, obviously, because she, in principle, didn't want to sit on it.
She paid too much money.
I paid too much money for it.
But actually, I think the girls in front of us bought one, and they only paid 10.
Yes, I know.
So we could have bought a lot less.
I know, but we had this. We sat on it, and then in the sun.
And actually, sorry, I'm just going to jump in. That is the picture of us. Our little podcast picture of us is on the blanket.
It is. It is
us on the blanket
on the
Barcelona beach.
On the Barcelona blanket.
Yeah.
So anyway, we finished our whatever we were doing, gazing out to sea, eating an ice cream, and then we decided to head back. So we get changed. I'm carrying this now, regretting this enormous throw because it's quite cumbersome to carry, and I've kind of forgotten that we'd only taken hand luggage, so I've got to try and get this thing home.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've got it bundled up under my arm, and we probably walked for like 20 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah, we did. It was a long walk.
And at some point, I thought, I need to shift arms with this thing. And as I look down, I can see my white stripy t-shirt has now got blue dye on it. And my arm is covered in blue dye from this poxy throw.
All over your hands.
All over my hands. All over my arms. All over my, like, the boob bit of my t-shirt, the side bit of my t-shirt. And I was like, oh,
and I think Mum had a little snigger
Mum had a little snigger to herself. And I couldn't really do anything. I just had to try and bundle it up away from the wet bit. Anyway, we get back to the hotel and I literally had to scrub my skin to get this blue dye off.
Yeah, and actually... Yeah, you did. And just also thinking that you bought the blanket because you were going to Bali a week after.
Yeah.
And you were like, this is the perfect blanket to take to Bali.
I know.
Did you take it to Bali?
No, of course I didn't. Of course I didn't.
You didn't even take it to Bali.
I didn't even take it to Bali. I bought a new thing.
In Bali?
No, I didn't. I bought it in this country. And I washed it before I used it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that day when we were in Barcelona, we actually very nearly killed Mum as well, didn't we, with our walking?
Maybe.
Because we went out for a really nice dinner and kindly parked her off back at the hotel while we went out for a few drinks afterwards.
Yeah.
Again, that's the sort of standard for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mum, come away on holiday with us. Come away for a trip with us. We're just going to pop you off back to the hotel now, dear, and we're going to go out for a few drinks.
Yes. Yeah.
Like we did when we took her to Stratford. Was it Stratford upon Avon?
We did take her to Stratford and we did leave her at home.
Yeah. We did. Mum, you're all right if we go out for a few drinks, aren't you? Yes, dears, I'm fine.
You know, just for a couple. It's not like we're out all the time.
Yeah. And actually, kindly, this year we did extend our sister's trip as well, didn't we? We had another little trip.
We did.
Little trip.
We did Sisters and Sisters.
Sisters and Sisters, which we extended to Mum and Meryl. And actually, that was Mum and Meryl's Christmas present, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I think.
Yeah.
So we had a nice weekend in Exeter. Made Meryl's day by everybody having matching pyjamas.
Made her cry.
We did make her cry. But I was a bit mean because she loved... So basically, me and Kim have matching pyjamas. We bought Mum some matching pyjamas as well, and then secretly bought Meryl matching... And Meryl, our aunt, by the way, Mum's sister, bought her some matching pyjamas. And then when we were in Exeter, we thought it'd be really funny for all of us. After we'd been out... Funny/mean. So we'd gone out in the afternoon, had some lunch, came back, thought we'd just... Why don't we put our pyjamas on, all of us? Let's have a glass of Prosecco, put our pyjamas on, sit and watch a bit of telly before we go out in the evening. So me, Mum and Kim came down in our matching pyjamas. And Meryl was like, oh, they look nice. Oh, they're nice. Oh, you've all got matching pyjamas. Where did you get those from? And we were like, oh, just from Primark, you know. And she said, oh, can we go to Primark tomorrow? And I'll get some as well. I was like, no, we can't go to Primark tomorrow. No, absolutely not. Sorry. No Primark for you tomorrow. And she was a big crestfallen that we were being so mean. And then I said, no. Here's your pyjamas. Oh, yes, she did cry, didn't she?
She did.
Had a little sob. She loves a sob.
So we had the pyjamas and some Prosecco and essentially just got a bit drunk. Got a bit day drunk.
Yeah. And which culminated in Mum telling you off in a restaurant.
She did.
She did. She wasn't very happy.
She wasn't very happy. In my defence, I mean, I apparently was a little bit drunk and sweary. Not at people.
No, just generally.
Just in general.
Effing and jeffing.
Effing and jeffing.
Yeah.
But, you know, a little bit of day drinking and some Prosecco. I don't think I'd eaten.
No.
Apart from some chips.
No.
And I don't think I was that loud.
No.
Mel said I wasn't that loud.
No.
So
yeah. Well, we'd been to Spoons, got a couple of 3 jugs of cocktails, come back, had a couple of bottles of Prosecco, gone to the restaurant, had a bottle of wine and maybe a cocktail.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's completely understandable. Yeah. It's very easy. It's very easy to get that drunk.
I think I was talking in an excitable fashion.
Exactly. You were on your little bit of a high. You were just on that pitch that's just a little bit too high for me.
A little bit too high.
With. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, getting drunk is a little bit of a forte, isn't it, for you?
I
do like it. Well, I say you, we both like it, don't we?
I think, you know, again, it's the excitableness.
Yeah.
Of having a few drinks.
Yeah.
When you're on, you know, when it's a special occasion.
Hen do's.
Falling
over in the back of taxis.
Yes. Yeah.
On my hen do.
Yeah. The taxi man. Are you okay, Kim?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, come through the intercom. Kim falls over in the back of like a proper black cab. As she's getting out, falls over in the back of the cab. Yeah. That really.
How did he even know my name?
This is the thing. It completely blew my mind when I was drunk.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. How does he know your name? Are you okay, Kim? How did he know her name? Quite possibly because we've been screeching.
Yeah, maybe.
Saying your name all the way back in the taxi.
Or I'd been shouting my own name. Which I don't necessarily think I do, but, you know, who knows. Or when we went to Meryl's hen do and we'd gone out on our own.
Again, leaving mum at home.
Well, leaving everyone at home.
But it was only the 4 of us.
Yeah. Going out on our own and going into a bar, which was really, really loud.
Oh, that really cool place in Paynton that's got the little disco in it.
Yeah. So the music's really loud and we're just there, like, just dancing away together. And this guy comes over to me and I was wearing my hair down at the time and it was, like, big and curly. And he literally came over to me and he lifted up my hair like it was a spaniel's ear. And then proceeded to try and talk into my ear. So he could obviously tell that with a lot of hair, I wasn't very likely to hear him.
Yeah.
But it was just this way of like lifting up my... I mean, it was very... very intrusive.
It was very intrusive. It was like a spaniel's ear.
I should have been wearing my Don't Touch My Curls pin.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think I was so shocked that I don't think I really said anything like, get the fuck off my hair, dude.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure we just laughed and ran off.
Yeah. I actually don't think I even registered what was going on. I was just like in a little world of my own. Yeah. I mean, I think holiday stories have always been a thing, haven't we? We've always had fun on holidays.
Yeah.
Like from when we were younger. We've always had a real laugh on our holidays. We used to go on holiday with family quite a lot. We didn't ever used to have a foreign holiday, did we, when we were younger?
No.
So we used to go on holiday with family.
Yeah.
Caravans were our thing, weren't they, really?
Yeah.
Not very expensive holidays, but just fun.
But yeah, like always.
In a caravan.
Always a funny story.
Yeah. I think the phrase "rabies is a killer" would ring true with a lot of people in our family. If we say that, they would instantly start laughing.
Yeah, staying on a campsite near the beach in Devon and seeing a sign that says "rabies is a killer."
Literally the first thing that as you pull up
like
to the camper van,
what have we got ourselves in for?
Rabies is a killer in the 90s. Was rabies a killer in the 90s?
I can't imagine.
That still left up from the 50s.
I don't know. But yeah.
I didn't even know what rabies was.
No.
I mean, I laughed at it. I don't think I even knew what rabies was.
No.
Then.
And I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have been. Well, it wasn't a killer.
But it wasn't a killer. No. Maybe we need to find that out. Was rabies a killer in the 90s?
Yeah.
How many people died of rabies?
Yeah.
In the 1990s?
Or the very well known surf clothing.
Oh yeah, that everybody used to get.
We were never
allowed them.
We weren't allowed. But they were very expensive.
Yeah,
they were like, oh, they were so cool.
Yeah, it was. Everybody knew you'd been on holiday in the summer because you had a hoodie or
a cap
t-shirt
or something. Because
that,
you could get them in like any colour.
Yeah,
any
so
colour
cool.
imaginable.
Yeah.
And we obviously all wanted one.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were expensive. And one of the female family members who was with us, had suggested that instead of buying one of these branded
expensive
t-shirts, we just got a t-shirt and drew a Fat Willy on it.
Yeah, because that's just exactly the same.
So for those of you that know, it was Fat Willy's Surf Shack.
Yeah.
And
Auntie Carol
Auntie Carol suggested we just draw a Fat Willy on it. So we didn't, obviously, because that's not what you do. But that one followed us around for many, many years.
Yes, it did. Yeah, I can't even mention Fat Willy's in the family now without the Surf Shack, not anything else.
We don't talk about Fat Willy ever.
And I am just gonna. No, I'm not going to tell the story because it's embarrassing. But you'll know the story when we were talking about this story the other week with Nellie. We were talking about drawing Fat Willy on it.
Oh.
We won't repeat that.
No.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, we did eventually go abroad though, didn't we, with Mum and Dad? I think like our last family holiday.
Yes.
Before I got too old to go.
Yes.
We went to Greece, didn't we?
We did.
Lovely. We had. Was that a week or did we?
It was two. It was the two. It was the last time I've ever had a tan. 2 weeks in Greece. 2 weeks in Greece is what I need to have a proper tan.
I don't think I got a tan.
And not look like a ghost.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was good fun. I mean, the 2-hour transfer to the resort, and then the trek across the shrubland, to try and find our little house
apartment,
was a bit scary when we first got there. First foreign holiday as a family, and we get out the bus. Everyone's getting dropped off at these really posh hotels and really fancy, it's all bright and lights, and we get dropped off in the absolute pitch blackness
at the end of like a dirt track.
At the end of a dirt track, and they're like, "Yeah, your place is just over there." Okay, so we're traipsing across this grassy shrubland
with loads of goats,
hearing goats.
I mean, it was lovely.
It was lovely.
The apartment was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
It was lovely. It was just, it was in a very rustic part.
It was just on the outskirts, wasn't it? So it was a little bit of a walk, but it was lovely.
Yeah.
But I think that was an epic last holiday as a family of 4 because there was lots of good fun that we had on that, other than when I kept having to go at you because you just could not understand what the bike rental guy was saying.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's so. I mean, it's always embarrassing when somebody says something to you and you can't understand them, and there's only so many times you can say sorry, pardon, before you just have to whatever. And especially I think when it is somebody who. When English isn't their first language, it is hard, and I would have been about 14, 15, and you were just like,
no, you were younger than that because I think I was 15 or 16. You were like 13.
Oh, well,
I think you were little,
even more so.
Yeah,
you were like, stop being so rude. I just can't understand what he's saying, and in the end, I had to just do the. Smile and laugh, and I'll take that bike, thanks, and cycle off. But
and we got into trouble again with Mum. Always getting into trouble because we went on this boat trip, lovely boat trip. When you go on a boat in Greece and the seas are blue and it's lovely, and it's one of those ones where you can just jump off the boat and go for a swim.
Yeah.
So obviously we were like, we're going to jump. We were really, I say we were good swimmers. We loved swimming, didn't we?
We did.
And we were good, confident swimmers.
We were confident swimmers, yeah.
So we would be jumping off the boat and swimming around and jumping off the boat and swimming around. And eventually it was time to come back in because we were going and Mum was, come, doing that gesture. Come back, come back into the boat. And we're like, woo, just giving her a wave.
Yeah.
Hi,
we're not coming in.
Swimming out a little bit further. No, I'm not waving. I'm gesturing you to go. Oh yeah, she wasn't very happy with us, was she?
Literally like tiny children.
Yeah, because she doesn't. She likes a little bit of a float. She wouldn't swim, would she? She wouldn't. No. We probably were going out a little bit too far.
Yeah, we probably were.
To be fair, just to wind her up.
Yeah,
but yeah. And the ultimate story from that holiday was the pedalo.
Oh, the pedalo. The pedalo. Pedalos are fantastic.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to put, well, as long as there's more than one person doing it, like you don't have to put a massive amount of effort in. You can just, they're very chilled. You know, you can float around.
Yeah.
Just with your feet, pedaling.
Yeah.
Like anyone who doesn't know what a pedalo is, Google it.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Good fun.
They're good fun.
Yeah. Again, not a thing that mum just used to like to sit on the beach and have a little sunbathe.
Read a
So
book.
we'd go with Dad.
Yeah.
In the pedalo. And again, having fun. They didn't, so nowadays they have those really cool pedalos where you have a slide and you can slide off the back.
Yeah.
And then there's a little ladder.
Yeah.
So you can climb back in again.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they were just pedalos. You couldn't
I mean, this
slide
would have
off
been,
or climb back in.
This would have been like 94, 95.
No, it was 94, I would say. 93 or 94. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, you didn't have the nice little slides and ladders to climb back into the pedalo. So we're all just swimming, jumping off.
We were quite far out.
We were quite far out. Jumping off the pedalo with Dad.
Yeah.
Swimming around.
Well, Dad, it was me and you jumping off initially, and then we were like, Dad,
have a swim.
Jump out the pedalo.
Yeah. Have a swim.
Come on, you'll love it. The water's warm. You know, it's really nice. It was very deep though.
It was very deep, yeah. So we were all jumping off, and then obviously our time was up, so we had to go back in. So me and Kim got back into pedalo. Yeah. Dad doesn't get back into pedalo. I mean, in his defence, I say in his defence, now if you asked me to push myself up to get into a pedalo from the sea, I wouldn't be able to do it.
No.
And no. He couldn't do it. I mean, he was probably my age. Younger than me, actually, to be fair, because he would have been younger than me.
Yeah.
He didn't have the upper body strength to push himself up.
And there's nothing to help you get back in.
You can't push yourself off the floor.
You have to push yourself up, get your leg right up over. Yeah. And of course, he was annoyed. Yeah. And he was getting angrier and angrier. And that was making us laugh even more.
The angrier he got, the funnier it was to us.
And we're trying to help him, doing an absolutely terrible job.
Because we're laughing too much.
Because we're laughing too much. And in the end, we just had to pedal.
With him hanging on the back.
With him hanging on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, he doesn't like that story.
He doesn't like that story, but
I think secretly he probably does love it because it was a little bit of a bonding.
It was a bonding.
Fun,
it was a bonding
fun moment. But yeah, he did. He was not impressed and sulked all the way back to the shore.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So we're looking for another big family holiday for next year, aren't we?
Yeah, we
all
are.
Of us
we are
going away
somewhere nice and warm. Yeah. Somewhere that's got pedalos.
Somewhere that's got pedalos.
And then maybe Dad can jump in. He can go down the slide. Or
he can get up the ladder.
He can get up the ladder.
And then maybe I'll just hang on to the back and
hang back with him. Yeah.
Good idea.
Fantastic. So, thanks for listening. If you like what you've heard, don't forget to follow us and click the bell to get notified when new episodes go live. Bye.
Bye.